Hello again. Welcome from Hereward the Woke, the only social liberal comedian in the UK, and the Woke's answer to Jeff Norcott. So, what shit happened this week? They all look the same to me, said a Tory MP at the centre of a racism row after being accused of confusing Asian ministers Nadim Zahawi and Sajid Javid at a St John's ambulance reception. Was the Tory MP suggesting that all volunteers in the St John's ambulance are white, or should be? Asians need to start up a St Javid's ambulance in that case, but of course they may struggle to tell all the Tory National Front supporters apart from us nice white people. We have a joke PM, said Dominic Cummings, who criticised Boris Johnson in the wake of a COVID report, laying bare Number 10's devastating failures. As a minister, refused to apologise 11 times for errors and admits he has yet to read the full dossier. I assume that's the Beano edition of the COVID dossier. Plenty of PM-type jokes in there. Whilst boy band Boyzone slept with Stephen Gately's coffin on a church floor to ease his mum's fear. Nowadays with COVID, I think this would be less likely. Anyway, it was probably Halloween. Britain on thin ice, roared the Express this week, as an HGV driver shortage could lead to a lack of gritters this Christmas. I think we can solve this, because we've already got a Greta Thunberg, and due to global warming, we're not going to need our Greta Thunberg as well. Cop out, said the Sun. Boris Johnson was hit by a fast food nightmare as Number 10 cops blocked his pizza deliveries from coming to Downing Street. The police offered Boris an olive branch, but he rejected it because they weren't one of his favourite toppings. Boris rang the police and said, someone's nicking my pizzas. And they said, we know, bad luck, we're just levelling up. This week, actress Dawn French revealed she would pay fans not to read an unauthorised biography containing untruths. No need to pay me not to read your unauthorised biography, love, but you will have to pay me to read the authorised one. I'm looking forward to the one where you and Jennifer Saunders convert to... On a lighter note, a bride smacked her ball into her husband's groin in a wedding day rounders game, but still completed her run, saucy cow. Who the fuck plays rounders on their wedding day? Well, there'll be no sex for you, love, on your honeymoon, one way or another. Our virtue signalling DC Comics revealed that the latest Superman character is bisexual. Lois Lane has just committed suicide by jumping off a tall building, and Lex Luthor has started trolling him. Is it a plane? Is it a bird? Is it a bloke? No, it's super bisexual man who wears his underpants on his sleeve. Apparently, they're going to start calling it AC/DC Comics. Donald Trump has lost 25 pounds and is a lot happier since leaving the White House, an ex-aide said this week. On the other hand, Joe Biden said his weight hasn't changed, but he can't remember what it was in the first place. Why Boris Johnson's gift to his father Stanley was dead on arrival, explained the Sun this week. As a present, Boris got Joe Biden a photograph off the internet. So I suppose giving your dad a dead beaver shows a bit more thought went into the gift. Christmas, he's promised to give his father 100,000 pigs apparently. So they'll all be dead as well, won't they? And for next year he's contacted the Faroe Islands to see if he can give Stanley a dead whale. Get stuffed, Boris. You're fucking useless. This week that Gemma Collins donated her old brassieres to sort global warming and the economic problems for Africa. Africa has told Gemma It doesn't want her dirty old bras, but they wouldn't mind a few of those juicy, expensive steaks for all their starving kiddies. Africa has also rejected Matt Hancock, which is a shame, because he could have washed Gemma's knickers. Daily Telegraph said Jeremy Clarkson did more for farmers in one series than Countryfile managed in 30 years. Yes, he showed that, like farmers, he is completely out of step with his community, hates looking after the land, moans all the bloody time, and would rather be roaring around the countryside in a souped-up tractor with his boyfriend. Europeans have been left feeling a sense of schadenfreude over the UK's fuel shortages and empty shelves. The Germans, they keep beating us at football. Now they're beating us at bloody Brexit. And just to cap it off, the Tories have landed us with a worse government than Hitler's Nazi party. Ex-comedian Billy Connolly says he misses being on tour after comparing lockdown to prison poor love. Billy is clearly a far-right libertarian who, behind the garrulous Scotch personality, has been pretending to be a social liberal person for 40 years. Now, as he's dying and nobody cares a fuck, he just bangs on about his mental health like most other libertarians. I never used to find the bugger funny. Instead, I used to hide behind the sofa, hoping he would go away and would Glasgow kiss some other poor family in the street. Guardian gave us Christmas shortages loom as Felixstowe struggles with a backlog. The port of Felixstowe is planned to be one of global Britain's free ports. This has now been put back to 2035 because it's so full of junk already. Insulate Britain were planning to shut it down and immobilise it. They've now decided it's doing a good job all on its own. Our family will be spending Christmas at Felixstowe Container Port this year, because that's where all our bloody stuff is going to be. We want to keep an eye on it in case it gets bloody nicked. Bond villain Daniel Craig admitted he favours gay bars over the aggressive dick swinging in hetero bars. It looks like Daniel Craig has finally come out. He's admitted he's a gay Russian double agent, which is what we suspected all along. Piers Morgan declared that Bond was the last real man alive. Now we know what sort of men you're really after, Piers. What is dick swinging? I must admit I've never seen any, so I couldn't have been going to any of the bars that Daniel has been going to. Oh, you mean Weatherspoons, don't you, Daniel? Folk are twice as likely to die if they've had both COVID and flu at the same time, Dr. Jenny Harries said this week. We workers are a bit thick, love, so let's run this past her slowly. So it's COVID-1 plus flu-1 equals 2, or 2 times or twice. We didn't expect the bloody COVID and flu to attack one another, love, and somehow join cancel culture and eliminate each other completely, or give one another an helping hand. One of the important items of the week was the news that 300,000 elves have been airlifted to the UK in a bid to save Christmas. The Taliban are reported to be livid. Unfortunately, Boris says there is no room for the elves because they aren't far right and they're white. Royalist Prince Charles said he totally understands why groups like Insulate Britain and Extinction Rebellion have brought the country to a standstill. But he said he's doing his bit. He revealed his Aston Martin runs on cheese and wine. Silly bugger. Let's be realistic. You can't expect a toff like Charles to do some hard graft on his 800,000 acres to help the climate emergency. Instead, he gets his flaming butler to serve the Aston Martin cheese and wine, and probably pieces of pineapple on cocktail sticks. But it will be comforting for the UK's starving children to catch a breath of the fumes as he drives up the road. Marcus Rashford has asked him to drive up to Manchester to give him a helping hand. All royals are the same. Prince Andrew's Ferrari, on the other hand, runs on pizza and coke. Remember the Harry and Meghan interview? Apparently the racist royal family member was being realistic about skin colour of the Sussex's baby, according to ex-footballer John Barnes. They are crafty, aren't they, the libertarian deep state? They've even hired a number of black people to apologise for racism, haven't they, Uncle Tom Barnes? The diet of primitive Brits has been in the news this week. And I don't just mean Salt Bae or Gordon Ramsay's. Ancient feces shows that humans enjoyed beer and blue cheese 2,700 years ago, and cavemen puffed away on fags and also smoked weed. Well, they didn't have to worry about lorry drivers and supply chains in those days, obviously. But what's special about that? Just sounds like the average Wetherspoons customer to me. This has been Hereward, the king of the wokes, standing up to the Tory National Front organised crime gang in the culture wars. Come on, the Union, we'll stick it to those bloody Confederates again, won't we?